sorry, I'm going to open us back to open session. We have nothing to report from closed session. And I'd like to let you all know that this meeting is recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel at youtube.com/Benicia Unified School District. That's for your convenience, so you can watch it as you will. Our pledge is going to be led by, I believe we have a middle schooler who is going to lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And we come to approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve the agenda as written.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, thank you.
And our highlight tonight is Benicia Middle School. And
Yes, we have Principal Mark Nelson here tonight. He's going to introduce our students as they highlight what's happening in our associated student body.
Got it. Well, thank you, everybody. Superintendent Calabresi and board members, thank you so much for having us here tonight or for volunteering us to be here tonight. We're thrilled to be here. I have three wonderful young ladies behind us. We have Bertie Newton, who is our student body vice president. We have Emery Crumpton, who is our secretary, and Annie Romero, who is our treasurer. And they will be talking about our leadership program and all the leadership activities that we do at BMS. But before I have these young ladies come up, I would like to give a huge shout out to Mr. Daniel Sataki, who is not only a fabulous math teacher, he has run our leadership program for the last 5 years. And BMS just would not be BMS without Mr. Sataki and everything he does. So thank you, sir, for all you do. And you're up, ladies.
Okay, we're going to start with the Benicia Unified School District's vision. We are an inclusive community that cultivates an equitable and responsive environment, empowering all students to develop strong character and academic excellence to become well-rounded and engaged global citizens.
I'm now going to read the Benicia Unified School District mission. In partnership with students, family, staff, and the community, we are committed to inclusive community, respecting diversity and nurturing a safe and equitable environment. Empowered students, being responsive to student needs and voices while fostering the passion for learning, collaboration, and individual expression needed to reach their future ambitions. Strong character, promoting social emotional learning, integrity, mental and physical wellness, and values-aligned actions. Academic excellence, supporting and retaining a caring and well-trained staff who promote critical thinking, cultural and technological literacy, by ensuring rigorous and innovative programs. Well-rounded and global citizens, offering relevant learning opportunities to help build a sustainable future.
I'm now going to talk about how leadership builds community in our school, which is we do it with clubs and activities. The main goal of our leadership class is to build a strong sense of community. And we do this by supporting our campus clubs and creating our own events. One club we've already worked with is Sources of Strength. We've supported their advertising and lunchtime events. September was Suicide Awareness Prevention Month, and we volunteered at their 988 awareness activity during lunch. In October, we're working together on their You Can Sit With Me campaign to increase the sense of belonging on campus. Another club we pair with is the WEB program. WEB stands for Where Everybody Belongs. We help welcome 6th graders to BMS with activities throughout the year, and we'll be working together at our 6th grade dance in October. In addition to the 6th grade dance in October, we'll be organizing the 7th grade dance in February. The leadership students use fundraiser money to organize the DJ, decorations, snacks, and games. We advertise the events with posters, videos, announcements, and ticket sales. We always try to make the events better each year. Finally, the most exciting and fun way we build community at BMS is through our TGIF events. Thank goodness it's Fun Friday. We organize events for the entire school during our lunch on Friday. Some of the events I've enjoyed the most were things like trivia, where we choose a topic that usually coordinates with the Spirit Day. Another activity we like is volleyball, because everyone loves the fun and competitive environment. Another one, which is my personal favorite to work at, is hula hooping, because everyone loves just to listen to the music and have fun with their friends. So as you can see, leadership always strives to build community at BMS by organizing memorable events that bring students together.
As you can see here, these are just some photos of the school activities we organize at our school. One of my favorite memories at BMS was the 6th grade dance. It was one of the first events I had ever attended at Benicia Middle School. Throughout the dance, I remember being able to reconnect with old friends and having such a great time. My favorite part was definitely where everyone got close together and started dancing near the DJ. I just remember everyone laughing and having a great time.
Our next leadership highlight is our community service. Here at Benicia Middle School, we support our school by organizing and promoting various acts of community service at Benicia Middle School. For example, we help organize the annual Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day in honor of Ruby Bridges for being the first African American child to desegregate William Franz Elementary School in New Orleans. We also support many campus events for students and families, like Back to School Night and BMS Open House, where we help navigate parents to their students' classrooms. Viking Night, where we help create signs to support the event and run games like Giant Connect 4, Tic-Tac-Toe Toss, Cornhole, and Giant Jenga for the young children who attend. Viking Store, where we run a small school store every other Friday for students to redeem the Viking tickets they've earned from their teachers for doing good things. Finally, our largest act of service to the school is running the Cookie Dough fundraiser. This 2-week event helps us raise money to support all activities, clubs on campus, and end-of-year events. Our leadership students organize it every year without fail, and with the help of our amazing students and teachers. This event ended yesterday, and we were on track to have more than $30,000 in sales. These events are the many different ways our leadership class provides service and back to our campus.
In leadership, we strive to give back to our community. These photos capture moments of events where we have given back and brought our school together. One of my favorite memories of when leadership gave back was Viking Night. It was last year, and I decided to attend this event. It was nice to see all the families go together and all of the students attend this event. Viking Night consisted of food trucks, bounce houses, games, and more. Viking Night gave an opportunity for all students to have a good time with their peers.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here and explain what we do for our school. Go Vikings!
Thank you, girls. Well done. You are all very fine speakers. Well done.
Thank you so much for being here, you guys.
Dad picture. Thank you so much. Yes. And now we come to our our reports, and so we have our students here today, Briseida Sanchez and Frida Silva Cortez from Liberty High School. And we also have Isa Renteria, did I say it right? Yay! And Caroline Pilot. Oh, excellent. So Isa, are you starting or?
Good evening, President Grubbs, fellow trustees and cabinet members. In the past weeks, the Homecoming Spirit Week started off well on Monday the 22nd. Over the week, we had fun spirit days and lunch activities in the quad leading up to the rally and football game on Friday. The rally went well, with the PTSA making some of our staff into Human Sundays thanks to students' donations from their latest fundraiser. After school, we had our homecoming football game, which went incredibly. We won 48-0 while dressed in our class colors. During halftime, our cheerleaders led an incredible performance, and we had our first homecoming float presentation in years. The freshman float was voted as the winner. That Saturday, we had our homecoming dance. Leadership decorated the school with the theme of Candyland, with inflatable gummy bears and donuts and homemade ice cream, whipped cream, and lollipop decorations. We hired 3 local food trucks. The dance was a great success. The day after that, the debate team had their first tournament of the year. It was an online tournament with new and returning debaters alike, all winning at least one round.
This week, the school had its first college application workshop on the 1st of October. Today was School Custodian Appreciation Day. Also today, we had a school safety drill during access where we practiced run, hide, fight protocol in the event of an intruder. This Saturday, October 4th, the band is having a car wash and a bake sale at BHS from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the front parking lot. That same day, student or parent volunteers can show up to the BHS's Garden Club Fall Cleanup Day from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the school garden. In the upcoming weeks, Monday, October 6th is National Coaches Day, and Wednesday the 8th is Walk and Roll to School Day. On the same day, our school guidance counselors are holding a college application workshop during access. On Thursday, October 9th, BHS is holding its own SAT during the school day. That Friday is the end of the first quarter with a 2:30 p.m. dismissal for the day. After that, the school is holding a Festival de la Comunidad event from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m., celebrating the Hispanic heritage. Finally, that Saturday, the BHS band will be competing at the Franklin Band Review. On behalf of Benicia High School, thank you.
And Briseda, are you ready? Well, whoever's going to start is just fine.
Good evening, President Grubbs, Superintendent Calabrese, fellow trustee, and cabinet members. Tomorrow, we will be holding our monthly assembly honoring our October birthdays, advisory all-stars, students with perfect or near perfect attendance. Shout out to Sophia, Jackson, Mia, and Imani for having perfect period attendance for the month of September. We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month by learning about people with Hispanic heritage who connect our own interests and spark. I have picked Dr. Helen Rodriguez Trias. She was a activist for HIV and AIDS and was also the first Latin American woman to be named the president of the American Health Association. Next week, we will begin to construct our ofrenda and continue to add to it throughout the month. We are encouraging all students and staff to contribute.
LHS students have many learning through interest opportunities in the next 2 weeks. We are going to see the ACT play Kim's Convenience. We are hosting a Lash Tech guest speaker. Several students have signed up to take the ASVAB, and students at LHS are participating in the Forestry Challenge in Santa Cruz Mountains. Thank you, Mr. Pound, for getting us ready for this trip. Next week, we will be starting to partner with Mary Farmer again to bring back our playground pals. Students from Liberty, along with their advisors, go to our elementary school and partner with the younger students, and we do chalk art, play soccer, basketball, and we even do red light, green light, duck, duck, goose, and we hope to continue building a wonderful relationship. We want to say thank you to BHS for putting up a wonderful homecoming dance. Many Liberty students attended. The Bubba truck was great. The whole decoration of Candyland was honestly pretty amazing, and it was really fun. On behalf of Liberty High School, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And you are welcome to go on and carry out the rest of your evening. You're also welcome to stay if you want, but I bet there's good night. Thank you, ladies. So now we come to the superintendent report.
Yeah, good evening, Board of Trustees. So for October 2nd, my 12th day in the district and second superintendent's report, I'm really excited to share out about homecoming. What an incredible event that was and just the hometown feel. Love the homecoming floats as golf carts got decorated. Great game. I will not say the scores to not embarrass the other team, but our students out there played really, really well, and so did the JV team. I had the honor of going to the Benicia High School Hall of Fame dinner, second annual dinner. It was pretty much a packed house, and I just want to give a shout out to these individuals here. There was the award winners that night. It was super inspiring, but Dave Betchert did not know that he was going to get the service award that night, and he was nearly speechless. And just to hear all the things that he has done for this community and for Benicia High School was just incredible. Michelle, and I'm going to not get her last name right here, Gasquion, a softball player and going on to play ball at the college level, and just all that she has done with her career was just incredibly impressive. But Randy Wright, the voice of the Panthers, was just, he got honored as a super fan, but to hear his story and to hear how, this is a retired police officer, and the contribution that he has made to Benicia High School football and the support that he gave. And he gave it all away that night. He really spoke about the other players, the other people that were in the box with him, and then all of his family members that were there supporting him, and people that he grew up with and their contribution. And it was just really, really inspiring night. I got out to Benicia High School and got into some classrooms. And these two young ladies, Gabby and Dolores, shared with me from Mrs. Chu's fifth period art class as they were doing some 3D artwork, and the turtle there and the kitty cat. And so it was super fun. These were students were very inspiring as they talked to me about their artwork and what they were doing. This is Miss Jones at Joe Henderson Elementary School, and she's getting some help from her puppet named Molly. And Molly was helping the students identify letter sounds, and if Molly didn't agree with the letter sounds, she spit out the card there. It was fantastic. I asked Joe Henderson students, what's one thing I need to know about Joe Henderson Elementary School, and they said that everyone is kind here and the staff is the best. This is at Mary Farmer Elementary School. Ms. Fulton's class is annotating their math page as they learn about composite and prime numbers. I have to tell you, I don't know that I learned composite and prime numbers when I was in elementary school, and these students were annotating their math page. In other words, they were making notes, they were speaking to the text there, and it was super impressive to see the rigor that was happening there. Viking Night. I want to make sure that you all know about Viking Night tomorrow night from 5 to 8 o'clock. Our middle school students spoke to that, but I wanted to put that out there. I'm super excited to be attending that tomorrow night. Some of us got to go to AXA Solano. AXA is the Association of California School Administrators, and the night was to talk about leading with purpose, and several of us were asked to speak. I got to speak for a short time there. They didn't give me the mic too long, which was probably a good idea, but it was a great night. It was great to connect with other administrators throughout the county. Reception was held last week for me as the new superintendent, and just a few pictures here as I met with the Liberty staff and got to connect with them and got to go in their classrooms today. Our chief of police and his number 2 and lieutenant, and so that was great to connect with them. And I'm not sure what funny joke Ms. Beatson told me here, but we were cracking up laughing as Lionel from our council was there as well, and our librarian. I don't know if you're aware of this, but our dance team is going to be at the Chase Center on October 28th, and they're looking to sell tickets to help fundraise for this. And so I just want to put it out there to the community and to all of you, and to come support our advanced dance team. And so our hope here is that the Warriors win that night, and that the dancers here are the secret charm, and they keep getting invited back. That's our hope. So, and then. At Joe Henderson Elementary School, they had Start With Hello Week. And I don't know if you know the background on Start With Hello Week, but that is something that came out of Sandy Hook Promise. And so that's an organization that we partner with. And so they conducted that about a week ago. And then, as you heard the students speak to, our Festival de la Comunidad, and that is occurring October 10th from 5 to 8 o'clock. And that's a partnership between Mary Farmer Elementary School and Benicia High School, which I just love that we are connecting our elementary kids to our high school students. So hopefully you can come out and enjoy that. And that concludes my superintendent report.
Oh, thank you. There's a lot coming up. So now we come to our board reports, and I'd like to start I had the opportunity to go to the homecoming rally last week, and it was amazing. The cheer team, the color guard, they were so fantastic. But what I was really impressed with was how to play high school musical chairs. So it's not like the same high school, it's not the same as the musical chairs that we know. So what they did was, there was a group of kids, they were blindfolded, and they were in a circle. And well, I guess they knew this was going to happen, but then a bunch of other people came and moved all the chairs around, like at different ends of the gym. And so then they had to take off their blindfolds and go and find chairs. I thought it was a great party game. It was so funny to watch their faces looking back and forth and where's the chair, and it was hilarious. Anyway, I had a great time. It was a very impressive rally. It was so fun. It was really fun.
I would like to give a shout out to Tanya and our food services team for the wonderful spread that they had for our superintendent and everybody that came to visit. It was lovely, and we had dinner that they made tonight too, so it was really good. So they do an amazing job, and Tanya and your team, great job. I watched homecoming, the football game rather, on television. I was watching the whole thing. It was exciting. And I wish I had gone after I started watching, because those floats, I mean, I think that is such a unique, fun thing to bring back and give the kids an opportunity to show their artistic talent. And it was really fun to watch. So thank you to everybody. Good job, players.
Great. I also attended the homecoming game. It was a lot of fun. I attended with my kids, but they did not attend with me. I sat with the band, and I want to give a highlight out to the band. They did a terrific job. It's just a lot of fun. The students have a ton of fun, and it makes the game, I think, really special. I was also able to attend the new superintendent reception when the community members came, and we had a fantastic turnout. So I want to thank all of the community members who showed up. We stayed the entire time and talked for the entire 2 hours. I was surprised. It was a really good discussion. And I attended the Benicia Panthers Athletics Hall of Fame, and would like to thank Mr. Ron Wheat for putting that together. It's a huge endeavor. He does a great job. It's the second year they've done it, and I highly recommend going in the future. One of our former teachers, Mr. Arp, puts together the program, and it is so well done. You can take it home and read it, and it's really interesting. He does write-ups on each of the inductees, very meaningful write-ups. So it was a really nice event. And then last but not least, I attended the Uncork the Hope event with the Heyman Foundation. That particular event is spearheaded by one of our PTG members, Dana Jones, and she did a fantastic job. She's a huge support for our schools, and so it was great to go support her and the Heyman Foundation.
Well, I don't really have much to add, except that I was at a lot of the events. But as we were talking, I was at the homecoming game, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the parents and the adults who are behind the concession stand. Wow, it's busy, and they are really, really hard at work. So a shout out to them, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from members of the public? We do not. So, Georgina, do I need to read the blurb? Okay, I will. Members of the public may address the board at a regular board meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Speaker cards are available at the entrance table. Please note the item you wish to speak to and submit a card to the board secretary. The board president will call all the open session general comments, Government Code Section 54954.3, during the public comment item. Comments on items on the agenda will be called for the specific item. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, or the board may limit the total of time to 20 minutes per item, with the timer displayed on the monitors. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda of the governing board. Please be reminded to keep your comments respectful, as students may be watching the board meeting. Thank you. And I do want to stress that it is hard not to comment on public comments. I say this occasionally just to remind the public that it's very hard for us to not reply, but we may not. It's against the Brown Act and Ed Code. So we come to item number 11, approval of the consent calendar. Background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on roll call votes unless discussion of items is requested by the board members. May I have a motion?
Yes, I will do that. I would like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar as written.
I'll second.
This is a roll call vote, so President Grubbs. Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
And Trustee Manasi?
Yes.
And then we come to,
We have resolutions. that we-
oh, sorry, yes, resolutions. We come to item F, correct? Approval of resolution number 25-26-10, declaration of obsolete items for Benicia High School. And this is a separate roll call.
President Grubbs? Yes. Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
And Trustee Manasi?
Yes.
And item G, resolution of item number 25-26-12, authorizing signatures for child care documents CSPP for the fiscal year 2026 and 27.
President Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
And Trustee Manasi?
Yes.
And item H, approval of resolution number 25-26-13, declaration of obsolete items from Benicia High School.
This time I'm going to go backwards. Trustee Manasi?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
And President Grubbs?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we come to item number 12. Sorry. Approval of the quarterly report on the Williams uniform complaints. Wasn't that part of the? That was part of the consent. Okay, no problem. So we come to item number 12A, our CAS data presentation by Dr. Beetson.
Good evening, President Grubbs and board members. I am very excited to bring to you our results of our state assessment. I'm not going to read the vision and mission because we heard that so eloquently done from our middle schoolers, but please know that those are the foundational documents that we always refer back to make sure that the actions, the goals are really in alignment with the vision and mission of the district, along with our equity statement. That is our call to action to ensure that we are closing achievement gaps, and I will give you a quick highlight before I get into data. We have done some amazing jumps in closing the achievement gap with certain student groups. And so that's just a little foreshadowing. So CASP, as you know, just very quickly came as a state test in 2014. It replaced the STAR test. It measures students' mastery of the Common Core state standards in English and mathematics. And then there's a newer science test called CAST, which is also under this umbrella. Interesting about the CASP test, it is computer-based, so it uses adaptive technology so that we can get a better understanding of where students truly are. Students are assessed in grades 3 through 8, and then 11th for ELA and math, and then 5, 8, and 11 for high school. And it is critical thinking, problem solving, analytical writing. There's a lot of accommodations built in, so students can turn the background to black with white lettering if that's better. They can raise it, they can highlight. So there's a lot of already accommodations and tools built into the assessment itself. It also has a bank of practice assessments called interim assessments. And this data is used, we look at it a lot of different ways, but we look at it grade level year to year, and then we look at cohorts of students. And it really helps us make programmatic decisions, okay? And it's, as you know, it's students who have exceeded the standard, met the standard, nearly met the standard, or did not meet. And it is one of the core assessments that we need to use for state accountability. So just quickly, we have improved in ELA by 2 percentage points. And so not huge growth, but it is continuing to move in the correct direction. I have NAs there for California, and we always look at how are we doing with our surrounding districts in Solano County. That is not publicly released yet, so I cannot put that out here. It will be soon. I will tell you, you will be very happy. We're doing well there. And then again, in mathematics, the same thing. We went up 1 percentage point. I do want to point out that last year, if you remember, we got recognition at the state level for an 8-point jump in our math scores, the highest in the state. And so whenever that happens, you're always a little nervous if you're going to maintain that or slide back. And so we maintained and we grew a little bit. So we want to keep moving in that trajectory. And science, we did not make any gains. We stayed steady. And I will also let you know that we are continuing to monitor that and look at what we need to do there. And we are also outperforming by a lot our surrounding districts. So this, I'm going to go through, as I typically do, the highlights of our data. I have all of the other data slides at the end of the presentation. If you want any further information on that, I'm happy to jump to any of those, but I won't take you through every one of those slides. So I already talked about the overall ELA and math growth. I want to point out our 4th grade ELA, a double-digit 13-point growth, which is amazing, and then 6 points in math, and then that 4th to 5th grade cohort, same students, 2 different years, made an 8-point gain. So those are terrific. And this is where I am so proud of the work that our teachers are doing, that our administrators are doing, because this is where you're going to see the closing of the gap. And so you can see with our student groups, this is at the district level. I did a darker highlight there on double digits. So typically, we look at 3 to 5 points as pretty statistically significant. But here we're seeing 10, 18, 11-point gains with our student groups. And those were student groups that a few years ago we were in differentiated assistance for our African-American students, our Hispanic students. So we're making great gains there, and you can see the same thing in mathematics. The next slides I'm going to go through quickly, but these are by school site and the amazing gains again. And so you can see the change, the positive change of 11 points, 5 points, 4 points at Benicia High School, and 2 points for Liberty High. And so while we still have places to go in terms of the overall performance, we're moving in that direction. Here we have Benicia Middle School, and huge shout outs, and Mr. Nelson here in the audience, but I want to point out a couple. In particular, African American students made a 28-point gain in ELA, and our Hispanic students 25 points in ELA. And then over on the math side, Hispanic students 34 points and African American students 28 points. And so those are, while all of them are noteworthy, those are some incredible closing the gap. Here we have Turner. Again, many, many, many areas, but you see 22s for students with disabilities. That is the highest growth in the district. That group I will come back to a couple slides. That's a group that we are still really paying attention to because we're not moving them as a whole as we need to. And our socioeconomically disadvantaged students, 22 points, so incredible growth there.
Dr. Beetson, can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
I know that we've been doing a lot in terms of our curriculum with students with disabilities. What do you think is explaining some of these numbers at Turner?
I think that's some of it, and so I have our impacts coming up.
Oh, good.
But I think part of it is really that alignment between general ed and special ed curriculum. It's professional development, it's the collaboration. And one of the words I would use, and it'll come up on my slide, is intentionality. And I think that has been a big shift for us across the district, is intentionality. We're looking at our data, not CASP data ongoing, but the NWEA data, and really diving in deeply with what is it that students need next to move. Here we have Henderson and Farmer, and you're going to see similar things again, 10, 12, 15-point increases with different student groups. And I want to shout out again to Robert Semple, another school that has made 23 points for Hispanic students, 19 points in their 4th grade in ELA, and then over in math you see a couple of groups with double digits as well. And they're they're really digging in and working hard, and it's fantastic. So we always celebrate where we're making those strides, and then we focus in on where are some areas that we need to continue to really drill down. And so this is our opportunities for growth. The data that I put on the chart were any that had a 5-point or more decline from last year. That was my sort of cutoff there. And as you can see, one of the things that struck me was we had some decline, but it's not huge double-digit declines like we saw in the growth, right? We saw a lot of double-digit growth. We're not seeing double-digit decline, which is good, which means we're not increasing that gap at the rate that we're closing it for some student groups, but we still need to pay attention. And the other thing you're going to notice is the student groups are the same in all of the next slides. It's our students with disabilities and our socioeconomically disadvantaged students that we need to start really paying attention to. So we have some decline there that we need to pay attention to. So this is district and the high schools. I'm trying to decide if I'm looking at my computer screen or trying to see up there. And then we have the middle school and Henderson, Farmer, Turner here, and we have English learners and students with disabilities and socioeconomically disadvantaged. So those are the 3 groups. We had more, and we're moving a lot, and now we're going to really hone in on these student groups as well. And then the next couple of slides are really that opportunities for growth for closing the achievement gap. So some of these student groups we saw on the increase side because we increased, but they're still quite far from where what we say everyone is performing. And so that I wanted them to show up here too, because we need to keep looking at that. And it's the same, it's the students with disabilities, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and English learners at all the sites that we need to really pay attention to, because they were at least 15 points lower than the whole school performance. So if you look at the top, 55% of all students met or exceeded the standard as the district, but then when you look at our English learners, 11%, our socioeconomically disadvantaged, 37%. So we really want to pay attention to that, and I truly believe when we name it and we focus on it, it starts to make a difference. And the same thing here, you're going to see those same student groups, and those are, they're not declined, but that's their score against where the rest of the schools performed. Any questions on that data part? So you asked, Trustee Hirsch, what were the impacts? Why did the changes happen? And while we can never make an exact one-to-one correlation because there's so many different components that go into education, I really think adult intentionality and mindset plays a huge role. We believe, as to use our superintendent's words, each and every student can learn at high levels. We need to all be truly leaning into that. Several years ago, by a former superintendent, we were charged with being the #1 district in the state, and I think people really took that to heart, and it really was a big call to action. We have very dedicated and committed teachers that are doing amazing work. One example is we have 8-ish, 9-ish, I don't have the exact number of our primary pre-K, TK, K1-2 teachers doing a 1 to 2 year in-depth study of the science of reading. You approved the MOUs a couple board meetings ago. that takes place on Saturdays, and it's 80 to 87 hours a year of work. And that's work that they want to do because it's good for our students. And so that's an example of that dedication. We've really worked on best first instructional practices, and we've named them. School sites have chosen one to focus on, and teachers are working on that collaboratively. We're using our data in a very consistent way. Teachers get excited. They call, when can we talk about that data? And they're looking at it at staff meetings. Dr. Ovick has really been pushing an attendance campaign, and everybody's been working on that because kids need to be in school to be able to continue that learning. So there's a whole list of reasons why. We have a high completion rate. Students are taking the test, and that is very important. When it drops below a certain point, we get dinged by the state for that. We have evidence-based supplemental curriculum that teachers are using, and the sense of belonging. One of the other pieces I truly believe, especially when we start to see certain student groups making those kinds of gains, is the work we've done around equity and ensuring that students feel like they belong, they see themselves around the classroom, they see themselves in the materials that we're using, and that's really important for students to feel like they're part of that community. So I think there's not a single reason, but many reasons, and I believe we're really on the right track as we continue to do that work with intentionality. And so this does say continued and next steps, because we don't want to throw everything away, because we believe the work that we're doing is working. And so we're going to continue our implementation of our new curriculum with intentionality and supporting our teachers. We are blessed this year to have Colleen Leong that can go out and coach and work alongside not only our new teachers, but veteran teachers call her as well for support. We are working side by side with our special education teachers and our director to make sure that the teachers have the professional development, they have the curriculum that they need so that they can truly collaborate and provide students that best first instruction. Site leaders are in classrooms. Our admin team twice a month goes on very focused learning walks, and we debrief to make sure that we're all calibrated in understanding what instruction looks like in classrooms. And so when we're providing support to our staffs, it is in that very aligned expectation. Checking in with principals on a twice a month, making sure that they have what they need. One of the new pieces, I say new, but it's more refined, I should say, is we have really worked and launched professional learning communities. And so it's not new work, it's just a more intentional, systematic way of doing the work. So we're identifying what are we all agreeing that students need to know and be able to do? What are the essential things that we're going to guarantee that kids get before they leave our 4th grade classroom, our 7th grade classroom? How do we know if they learned it? What do we do if they haven't? What do we do if they already knew it? And so those are the structures that we're putting in place to sort of frame and help us deepen the work that we've done already. So lots of other things up there that are continued supports and things that we'll be continuing to do. Is there any, and that's really the end. There's a whole lot more slides on the rest of the data, but I wanted to pause here and ask if you had any questions or things you wanted to go back to.
I do, thank you. First of all, I want to thank the staff for doing such an excellent job at helping our students learn the way they need to learn. I think it's really, really wonderful that they're doing that. And also, if there's any kids watching, you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. I mean, that's great. But getting back to this in general, our curriculum, we've changed some curriculum. Has that helped with some of these numbers?
I believe it has. It's very early to tell yet. And so we did our new ELA curriculum, kindergarten through 8th grade. Only 3rd through 8th take this particular assessment. But early feedback from teachers is that it's making a difference, that it's very rigorous, that it's very aligned with this work. So again, all of those things help. Absolutely.
And I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. It is just amazing. Some of the gains are truly phenomenal. And I do think that the new ELA curriculum is so pointed and so strategically aligned, and I think it was a really good switch. So
Thank you. And that, I have to give a shout out to my partner in crime out there, Mrs. Rice, who has done an amazing job working with teachers on that.
Good job, Stephanie.
Did anybody need me to go through any more data? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This is great. All the staff, that's amazing. Kudos to everybody. When I saw this slide, I was like, wow, this is really, really exciting.
Which one?
All of them. And I think it, like you had mentioned in our in your presentation, I think the support that we give for programmatic, like I don't know if it's opportunities, but that programmatic support, I think, like you said, is really beneficial to our students. So I really appreciate seeing that. I have a question just in terms of, you know, I definitely appreciate your comments about continuing to support our students that need it. What is, and then in terms of our overall goals, so we're, you know, 55% and 53%. Are we hoping to, like, do we have a goal of, like, do we want to get to 60? Do we want to get to 75? I mean, of course, we want to get to the highest number, but how do we continue to support those students that are continuing to excel year after year as well?
That's a great question, and I say we want to get to 100%, and we're going to do that, you know, one step at a time for sure. But part of this professional learning community that I was just talking about, so what teachers, and we're working through the process and putting more structure in place, is when teachers look at data, so they give a common assessment, and that common assessment might be looking at NWEA data, or it might be they've chosen 5 questions from a unit that they just taught in mathematics, and they all agreed to give the 5 problems at the same time, and they're going to come together and really look at it. And that's when they start to have the questions, students that are struggling, right? What are we going to do? Maybe it's a targeted small group. Students who may have already known it or definitely have shown that they understand this, how do we accelerate them? And so our curriculum does have places where they can provide enrichment. Sometimes that is that they don't have to do something that the class is doing and they get something that's more challenging. They can go deeper with a standard. They can look to what's coming up next and provide them those opportunities as well. So, and then the term we are using for that is differentiation. So these groups of students need some acceleration because they're not where they need to be yet. We're trying not to say remediation, but we want to accelerate them to that next level. And then students that need extension.
I do have a question, kind of piggybacking off Trustee Manasseh's question. The individual school sites, they do set targets, right? I mean, I remember when I was on site council,
In their single plans.
they set personal plans. So I remember we would set, everybody was at 60%. Well, in math next year, we want to be at 65%. And then depending on their individual results.
Absolutely, and thank you for bringing that up. So in the LCAP, there's also, I should have thought of that. We started with a baseline. Where were we a couple of years ago? We're in year 2, and so we update that every year, and there is a target. I don't have all of them right in front of me, but we do. I mean, eventually we want to go as high as we can go, right? We don't want to leave any students behind, but we do have targets of where we hope to be in 3 years, because we know it takes time.
Yeah, I'll be curious to hear what you find out about statewide.
Yeah. I have not seen this, I haven't seen the statewide, they haven't released that at all, but I can see the county, yeah.
Yeah, and it might be nice, you hear news about, the national standards and the national scores, but if we could get this information out to the community to let them know of the consistent improvement in the scores and what we're doing, and would be good to advertise.
Thank you.
I just want to add one thing really quick. What I've seen out there is also the other question, which is how do you set students up for success? And the student engagement that occurs in this district, in the classrooms that I've been in so far, students are being set up for success, and they're active participants in their learning, and I'm incredibly impressed with that. And I also attribute that to the reason why these test scores have gone up. our staff is prepared, our aides out there are working hard, and kids are ready for their learning.
Are there any other questions, comments for Dr. Beasley? No, just thank you. Okay, so now we come to item 13, our action items, and Mr. Calabrese, you are up.
Yeah, so what's before you tonight, Board, is a consideration approval of district's vote for Proposition 218 for citywide park landscape and lighting assessment. And the documentation that you've been provided there also includes a sample ballot. And essentially what you're voting on is, if this is a yes vote from you, then we would indicate on that ballot a yes, that we're supporting the city's proposition for landscape and lighting and assessment. And if you were to vote no, then we would indicate a no. As you know, that what comes with that is a yes vote would support the park and landscaping that occurs in our city and the lighting. And with that does come a $17,000 bill. And so we've talked about the different ways that we would mitigate that and how we would address that. And then a no vote essentially means that we're not in support of that. We are a large landowner in the district in the city, and so that is why we have such a large portion of this. Questions?
We do have Mr. Giuliani here to answer any questions, discussion. I know this is a hard one. So, Mr. Giuliani, would you like to come to the podium and maybe say a few words? Why are we laughing?
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I think we're laughing in some part because if you're asking me, I'm coming up in the role of city manager, and as city manager, it's my job to make sure that you as a property owner are informed. I cannot, as a city manager, advocate one way or the other. So I certainly have thoughts as a longtime Benicia resident and former board member. But I will share with you, again, the tenets of why we're doing this. And as I shared with the board 2 weeks ago, this has been 36 years in the making. We have an existing district. And that district only covers 20% of our property owners. And it had a rate that was set in 1989, and there was no escalator. So in 1989, it was $136.56, and that is the rate that it is today. The design is to have a citywide district so that there is a specific and dedicated funding source solely for our park system, which also includes taking care of the medians and the lighting. And as noted by Superintendent Calabrese, yes, you are the largest landowner in the proximity to parks, and that's why the cost is $17,000. And I think, though, it's apropos that when I gave this presentation to the school district 2 weeks ago, what preceded that was a discussion of our partnership just on the middle school and our partnership that we have with the James Lemus Pool. And that just across the street, we have a longstanding partnership with what was Mills Elementary School, and it's now the Benicia Community Center, and that longstanding lease agreement that we have with the district. That when children are crossing the street before and after school, it's supported by the city of Benicia to the tune of $30,000 every year. That we support our school resource officers by $80,000 to make sure that that's in supporting the school district at our middle school and our high school. And one thing that I think goes unnoticed, for more than a decade with the city's city's franchise agreement with Republic Services, you don't have a garbage bill. The school district does not pay garbage, and that's rather new in the new franchise agreement. So that is a savings to the district of $31,000 a month. Right? So that was more than a decade ago, and that franchise agreement ends in 2027. So it's an example of this kind of long-standing partnership that the school district and the city has in our relationship to promote the public good. And I would say, too, that when talking to whether you as a school district or our residents, it's important to know that what we're trying to do is ensure that we have proper resources to take care of our infrastructure that supports all of Benicia. And that when we talk about the recent test scores, we're making investment into our students in order to do that. We're making investments into our teachers so that they can make investments into the classroom. So too is this making an investment in the infrastructure that we have for our parks system. So that's the rationale behind it. If there's any specific questions that the board has, happy to answer that at this time.
Could you just go back and clarify the garbage agreements?
So
When did it go into place? I believe you said it's going to expire in
So,
2027.
correct, right? Every jurisdiction, or most jurisdictions, are going to have franchise agreements with a local garbage hauler. And in this case, Benicia has one with Republic Services. And for more than probably about 15 years, there's a 10-year agreement with 2 successive 5 years, and that will conclude in 2027.
And then what happens?
Well, what likely will happen later in 2026 is the city council will probably go out to bid for proposals from a variety of garbage haulers to provide, a quote for providing garbage service. And there's a variety of aspects in which one's going to evaluate that contract. The city has had a relationship with Public Services for more than 2 decades. Prior to the recent agreement, more than 10 years ago, the district paid for garbage. When the city renegotiated that, the city negotiated that the school district would not have a fee for garbage. And that was over $300,000 a year in value. So the city exchanged what would be a franchise fee, money to the city of Benicia, so that the school district wouldn't be charged. And again, this is just another example of the long history that the school district and city have in kind of the relationship to promote the public good.
Does anybody have any questions?
I just want to clarify, the cost of the resource officer and the crossing guards, those are costs that the school district takes on, though? The
No.
80,000?
So it's a shared cost. So the city and school district share the cost of the resource officer. And it's about $80,000 for the city of Benicia to support that program. And then the cost through the police department, interestingly enough, our crossing guards are supported to the tune of $30,000 a year, paid for by the city of Benicia through our police department.
So those are not on the school district's ledgers?
The SRO, the school resource officer, is a shared cost. But
So
not-
80,000 each?
It's approximately.
Okay.
It's about 50%.
It's okay, yeah, but.
And then there's not a cost for the school crossing guards.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know the history behind that, though. It has just been one of those long-standing arrangements. And one of the things I talked to both Chris about, as well as Janice, and before that, Superintendent Wright, is trying to memorialize that type of agreement so that we can account for it.
Well, I just want to make more, I don't have a question. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions, but I have, I just wanted to kind of walk through my thinking on this, because my thinking has changed quite dramatically over the last 2 weeks. And this is an issue that I don't think I really knew how to approach until maybe even a night or two ago. I did have kind of a light bulb moment, and I do want to share that. We're very focused on our expenses right now, as we should be, because we're deficit spending. And I went back, I thought through, why are we deficit spending? We're deficit spending because we're in declining enrollment. We have fewer kids coming into the schools. That's kind of the kiss of death for any school district. And we have to find some way to reverse it. And in thinking about this, I thought about all of the different things the city does, the things that we do for the city, the back and forth. And I kind of actually set that aside. And I thought to myself, what will the overall result of this be? If we invest $17,000, what benefit will the district have? And Mr. Giuliani addressed that a bit at the last meeting. But another one that I do think is worth mentioning is if Benicia looks better. Right now, it looks pretty shabby. The parks are in horrible shape. If we can invest in our parks, fix them up, make our public spaces look nice, we have good schools. I think we will attract families. And in doing the math, and Mrs. Barrington may have to help me with this, but I was trying to think of how much funding do we get per student? And I know it's by kind of like chunks, like grade level, and I kind of thought 17,000, that's probably 2 students worth. So if we were to increase our enrollment by a net 2 students, this would pay for itself. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Like, sometimes you have to invest money to get a return. And I kind of see this as an investment in the future of the district. I think it's really an opportunity. And I, like I said, I don't come at this lightly. I don't want to, I'm very fiscally conservative. So this is something that I've given a lot of thought to. And I just think that the best way to grow our enrollment is to invest in our community. And the district and the city, we have our squabbles, but we are in a symbiotic relationship. When the city does well, we do well. When we do well, the city does well. The bond passed, and the city benefited from that by higher property values. And I really, really believe that the district will benefit from this. And as we head into this next chapter of Benicia with Valero closing, I just feel like if Benicia has invested in itself, it sends a message. The people here in this community believe in it. We want to see it continue. We want to see it grow. We want to see it succeed. And I think that that's why, I do support this. Thank you. Sure.
I come from the opposite side, sorry. Thinking about our expenses and deficit spending and knowing that Valero is going to be leaving and we will lose students by that. And yes, there will be openings, in some of the homes that people could move into. But I don't know if that, and I know also, before I get into this, I know that our programs that we have set up, we have that one-time spending, one-time monies are ending, and we're going to have to come up with those dollars as well. And the 17,000 isn't only 17,000; it's a potential of going up, I think, 4 or 5%, possibly 4% every year. And I think we need to. It's very hard. I love our parks and I love our city, and I support it, but I feel like my allegiance right now is to our school district, and I have to think about that. I don't know. Thanks.
I have had such a hard time with this, and one of the reasons is, quite frankly, is that I don't see the BMS fields getting fixed. I don't see the city honoring some of their contractual agreements, and that concerns me, because what I want to say, I think what I'm really searching for is, what are the guarantees that the city is going to do what they say they're going to do? If we, as a school board, approve a $17,000 per year plus up to 4% in the outgoing years, where's the guarantee? Because what we've seen is from the contract that was entered into years and years ago, we call it the 99-year-old contract. Mm-hmm. What we've seen is, a lack of commitment from the city to take care of our fields, and that was the agreement. So, I'm concerned. I also think that I agree with you, Amy. I think that if we can get the parks back in shape, will that actually happen? I wonder. Will we get some of the medians fixed? These are all in a contract that we've seen that hasn't been, that could be pushed down the road. Where's the guarantee?
It's a good, Cece, it's a good thing, because as far as guarantees, because we have relationship with the city for the swimming pool for the next 2 years. What happens
After 2 years.
after 2 years? We don't have a guarantee keep going for 99 years to use the pool. That could change, because depending on the financial issues that the city's facing and the financial issues that we're facing, and I know you said 2 students could make up the 17,000, right? Right? So, roughly, we're gonna lose more than 2 kids. And I don't know, it's expensive, Benicia's expensive, and I don't know how many people are, because I've heard this over and over again, can afford to move over here to take, to live in these beautiful properties in this beautiful city. It's nothing against the city, it really isn't. I'm having a hard time looking at you in the face because I really care about you. And I care about the city, you know that. Financially, I have to be responsible, and I think that's where it lies. And I don't know where the guarantees are, like Cece was saying, as far as the pool, as far as there's a couple other things that you guys are involved with. And it could change. I mean, you guys have talked about closing the pool at some point, I heard. So, and I understand. I mean, financially, I understand. But we're going to be having to take kids to who knows where to be able to do their swimming program. So that scares me a little.
I want to respond, but I want to make sure Trustee Manassi is able to give her comments. So I can, if you want to go.
You sure? Because you can respond to that if you want. and I'll give mine.
While it's in my mind?
Yeah.
Because it's a broader point that I'd also like to make for consideration. I hear you on the guarantees, and and the first time I approached this, I was like, well, like, what about all these things that we have? And this is where I ended up. I think if this assessment doesn't pass, then the city is going to be in continued financial distress. And so all of the stuff that we currently have, the trash, which is a gigantic amount of money, that is a significant amount of money.
Which we did not know about.
We didn't know about that.
It's a surprise.
If the city, and I don't mean that the city is going to retaliate, I'm not suggesting that, I don't think they would. What I'm simply saying is that the city will have less money to be able to help us out. And we will get hit with a lot of expenses in the future. It is a big what if, right? But I do think that if the assessment doesn't pass, we do know that the city will be in continued financial distress. So I hear you. I understand my initial approach was the 17,000. Like, how can I authorize that when we're in a spending deficit? But where I came out on it is that this is as trustees, as Trustee Zeta said, as trustees, we have to do what's best for the district and the students. And right now, I believe that best thing is to grow our enrollment, to try to stop the declining enrollment, because we're in declining enrollment.
Right.
And it doesn't look good, right? But how do we stop it? If Benicia is a desirable place for families to move, that is how we stop it. And I know it's expensive in Benicia, but I'll tell you, Benicia is still one of the more affordable, commutable places. So, a young family just starting out, they're looking around, where are they gonna go? Are they gonna go to Danville? Are they gonna come to Benicia? Danville's more expensive, Benicia's less expensive. Benicia's got great schools, Danville's got great schools. And look, Benicia has great public spaces, just like Danville. So that's how I'm approaching it. I'm seeing this as a relatively, in the grand scheme of things, small investment that could have huge rewards in terms of our enrollment and the growth of our district. And hopefully being able to continue some of these partnerships that we've had, because I do really worry about that trash, I'll tell you. And the SRO. So that's my response.
Yeah. Well, I'm coming from this perspective of being a board member. I know we all are, but I just want to make that clear for myself as well. And the fiduciary responsibility that I have, adding this to our budget every year, to me, is worrisome. When we come up to the dais and we talk about deficit spending and we talk about, then we talk about the celebrations of what our students and staff are doing, and that's because of the programmatic, support that we give to our district. Thinking through in 5 years, if it went up 4% every year, that could be $20,000. And I worry about just our financial state. I think we are lucky to have the bond, and, we're lucky to think that through in terms of like, could any of those help support some of our school sites, and some of our school sites, huge lawn areas that we have, that maybe we can help support some of our students in their extracurricular activities? Like, could we help and partner and be part of that with the city, where we're maybe taking on some of those extracurricular activities for our students to be in our backyard instead of parks? So from the financial perspective, thinking through, when I went through my first round of having to cut teachers, and, that was really hard. And thinking through that, we'll have to look at that again and again and again. And then I'm making a decision to say, oh, but we're going to add this amount of a cost to our budget.
Unless we increase our enrollment.
It's all and exactly what you said. It's all what ifs. I mean, we really are gambling.
Our enrollment has been creeping down for many, many years. This is not new. I have wishful thinking that it will happen, that we could increase the enrollment. But we have to be realistic at what the trend has been, and that has been that it's been going down. And that has nothing to do with the closing of Valero. It has nothing to do with any of that. So, I mean, I think we need to be fiscally responsible because the trend has been going down without all these other things mixed in. So and you say it so eloquently, and you make some really, really good points. You really do. You almost switched me over, but
I'll keep trying. No, but yeah, I hear you. I hear the concern, and I share the concern about the cost of it. I do. What I come back to is it's $17,000. In the grand scheme of our budget, well, let me ask you. Let me ask the district. What does absorbing that look like? Is it like a line cut to an entire program? Like, if this were to pass, what would that look like for us?
So assuming nothing else changes, all of our expenditures stayed the same. Our students only attend 94% of the time. Our enrollment doesn't dip. Yes, we would have to, on the unrestricted side, find ways to cut costs, or on the restricted side that requires contributions, find ways to control costs. So that's what we would need to do to prevent further deficit spending.
So one of the things I think that we need to keep in mind also is, at this point, there are 47 houses for sale in Benicia. That is unheard of. So in the last, in previous years, we've had maybe 2 or 5, but we have 47. So what does that mean for the school district? What does that mean for our ADA? How many kids are in some of those 47 homes that are for sale? And I also I do have a trust issue with the city. I do. I want to just be right up front with that. But on the other hand, the school district is going to be in a very precarious situation, whether we spend $17,000 for 1 year. I suspect that the CPI may go up, which means that our contribution to the PLAD will be greater. This is a very hard decision. Did you, oh, please.
If I may, Madam President, you've asked some questions and so I wanted the opportunity to at least answer some of them. I wasn't sure if they were rhetorical. A couple of things related to the middle school lease. And one of the reasons 2 weeks ago we brought up the amendment of that change for that 99-year lease is that it made very unclear the responsibility of the party on fixing something that was damaged.
Like the solar pipes?
That was the Matthew Turner.
But wasn't it the city that broke them? I believe it was.
No, it was well, I don't want to violate Brown Act because it's not on the discussion, but the Matthew Turner issue, there was a leak that flooded the cafeteria, I believe, at Matthew Turner. And the concern at the time was that it was the city's determination that your contractor didn't do the digging right, and that's what caused the leak. It was somewhat resolved in the agreement that we talked about 2 weeks ago. Right, we utilized the $15,000 early exit fee as a way to kind of ameliorate the loss for the district at Matthew Turner. So we incorporated that within that agreement, and I shared that with Dr. Wright in our discussions in that. Related to the middle school lease, one of the challenges of that lease said that it was the responsibility of the party that used it to fix the damage. The city didn't use that property. We haven't used it for years. And so it created kind of a conundrum on which entity was supposed to correct it. So one of the things we wanted to do was address that. And so that's why the city will continue to maintain it to the terms that were discussed 2 weeks ago, up until the point when the district does its capital improvement project, likely before 2027. In consideration for that, the city said, we'll keep the pool open for a period of 5 years. Now, what's important to know about that is the cost for March and February, for all intents and purposes, for high school swim is $50,000 to heat the pool. For the students at Benicia High School, there are a handful of lap swimmers, but it's done solely for the benefit of our high school program. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. Don't we pay for half of that?
no,
Isn't there part that we put towards the swimming
you
pool?
pay a very modest splash fee
Per lane, per kid?
per lane.
Okay.
It is incredibly modest.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah. So it's incredibly modest. I don't even think it pays for the lifeguards, candidly. But it's a commitment for the community good, and that was the discussion that Dr. Wright and I had when conceiving the middle school kind of school or the pool arrangement. With regard to, so I hope that answers the question with regard to kind of the cities or lack of trust. And if you have other examples of lack of trust, happy to answer them.
Let me just ask you this then. Since 2 weeks ago, what maintenance has been done to the BMS field since you were here 2 weeks ago?
I don't think there's any maintenance other than probably the mowing.
There is. We talked about the holes, the gopher holes, and we asked to have them filled with something so students, because we've had students get injured on that field. And I hear what you're saying when you say that you guys have not had kids on that field for however many years, but you did before. So I don't know the upkeep of it up until the point you didn't have kids on the field. But the contract was written as such. And we did talk about that last time you were here, about the filling those holes.
It's a coordinated effort between the district staff and city staff on
Right.
trying to address the gopher holes. And so even in the terms of the new agreement, and I don't think it's been even signed yet, but even whether it's the old agreement or the new agreement, it's a mutual responsibility in the sense that the city will do what we can for kind of pest control, but with regard to actually fixing it, as the property owner, it's the responsibility of the district to fix it. And it's mutual. It's a partnership that we're trying to collaboratively work to address the middle school field. And the reason why you took the action you did 2 weeks ago is that it was really unworkable because it had outlived its use. I want to return, though, to the concept about the guarantees. I think what you can see in the condition of our fields is a result of what happens when you don't invest for a period of 36 years. And you see, the diminishing resources we have as a city to support those assets. And, Trustee Hirsch, commented, the city of Benicia is going to enter in the most challenging time since the 1960s when we lost the arsenal. The loss to the city's general fund will be $7.7 million next year, July 1. And this is a time, much like we have been over the last 2.5 years, when you have seen signs throughout Benicia that says, believe in Benicia. What does that mean? We have to make a decision as a community. Are we going to believe in ourselves? Are we going to rally around ourselves as a community to ensure that we get to a new tomorrow? And what does that new tomorrow look like? That new tomorrow looks like a lot more homes. We know that we're going to have 2,000 units in Rose Estates. They're going to submit for their environmental in December. We know that Signature Development, the company that is working with Valero for redevelopment, is eyeing 400 acres for residential, in addition to the 500 acres of industrial and commercial. We know that we're going to have hundreds of units at the Yuba on the end of East 5th Street. These are all homes that will be coming online within 5 years, or beginning to start to come online in 5 years. We know that our demographics in Benicia are an aging population. 41% of all the homes in Benicia haven't transferred in 35 years. So the homes that are up for sale now, statistically, are likely to be empty nesters. And you're likely to get families with students in there because, as noted earlier, while expensive, it is still the most affordable place to live within the Bay Area. So I think you're going to see a change in demographic in Benicia. And I would argue that there is a need to make sure that you have that proper investment, that when you're driving around looking to buy that home, is it family friendly? Are there weeds in the medians? Are the grass at Jack London or Community Park, is the irrigation broken, or we have brown fields? Is that going to be inviting to a family? This is something to consider as property owners. And again, I would conclude by saying too, as I noted, there are a variety of different arrangements and agreements the city has with the school district that far exceed $17,000. Right.
I hear you. I do have a question though. You said that for years and years that 1986 or whatever.
1989, yeah.
1989. Has the city kept up the maintenance? I know if I don't keep up maintenance on my home for many, many years, my home would fall apart. Mm-hmm. We've seen homes here that have done not well. So has the city kept up what it should have kept up, or are we here because there wasn't the proper upkeep?
We're here because there wasn't the proper upkeep. We're here because what we're doing today is hard. It's hard to go before this body and ask for consideration for additional costs for you. So too with residents. It's hard to explain to our residents and property owners, what the heck is a Parks Landscape and Lighting Assessment District? And then, let's add complication about a Proposition 218. Well, what is that? It's hard to ask people to pay more for existing services, and so what do? You don't do it. In the course of 36 years, you delay and defer. And we've now racked up $55 million in deferred maintenance on our parks. As I said 2 weeks ago, we have 21 playgrounds. 19 of them are older than 20 years old. But we don't fix that unless we take the step that we're taking now to finally fix it.
Yeah, and Mario, I want to say that I appreciate that, and I've been frustrated, and I realized, you know what? This is the first city manager and council that has tackled this problem that should have been handled all along this time. And now we have a really big problem. So thank you for really trying. This is a tough spot. And that's why I kind of go back to where I'm at, which is, I think 17,000 is a modest investment in something that could very well attract families. I mean, I know wishful thinking, I think it's far more likely that it would work out in our favor. I think it's far more likely if it doesn't pass, the city's financial situation is going to compound once Valero leaves, and as a consequence, ours will too, even more so. I think that this is a chance to stem some of that. So that's why I am where I am. And I really want to encourage everybody to think big, think broadly. I know that we've had issues. I'm sure the city's gotten frustrated with us too. But I think we need to set that aside. We can deal with that tomorrow. I think today we need to think big picture about Benicia, about what the future looks like. How do we get our finances on board? And like I said before, our relationship with the city is symbiotic. I really strongly believe that, and I fully support this. I think it's the right thing to do, and I think if we don't, I think the consequences will be worse.
I appreciate your viewpoint for sure. The timing is terrible. And, you know, Mario, thank you for being here. I appreciate you have a really tough job. As Mario was talking, I thought about, you know, we don't even know what the federal landscape is. You know, what if funding gets cut from our special education side, and we're going to have to think through how are we going to fund that? Our PT, our parent teacher, our boosters, how much money they raise every single year to support our students. You know, it's just sort of like, it's compounding, and we're asking more and more and more of our families. And the resources are slimming and slimming and slimming. So, you know, for me, it's just not the right timing. And 17,000 is today, but, you know, in 10 years, it could be 40,000.
Or not, if we attract students and reverse our.
Well, it could still be the charge, but right, we would have more, have more revenue in our budget. Right. They're all what ifs.
Well, what happens if we don't, so we have a huge number of votes. And, you know, there are property owners in the city. There are, I know that there are people who go to our schools that really want this to pass. And if this doesn't pass, you know, we may see the failure of some of our community sports programs. So I know there are people in our schools who are raising money for our schools who desperately want to see this pass. So and we have such a huge impact. What are our, I mean, a no vote, I'm afraid, would kill it. What is a non-vote? Like, just don't vote on it and let the taxpayers decide, the other taxpayers decide. I don't know. I'm just.
What about that? What about that? Not voting. Can we even do that? Do we have to vote?
Mario?
You should just stand up there.
No, you do not have to vote. Just like the city council, your decision is to, you know, cast either a yes or no. The vast majority of property owners won't cast a ballot. We've had about 3,300 ballots that have been returned. A little over 9,000 property owners receive ballots. As was noted, you are the single largest voter in this district at 17,000 votes. So you could absolutely determine the election with your decision.
Mr. Giuliani, what's the total number of votes?
So the total number of votes is 1,300,399,000, because if you can think about it, it's one vote per dollar. But yes, your decision is to direct the superintendent to vote yes, no, or you just abstain and don't cast a ballot.
I think no would hurt, for sure. I think that no would be a big barrier to overcome. I don't know about abstaining. I don't know, I want to get your thoughts on that. But like I said, you know my position. I'm a firm yes.
So I just kind of I need to talk it through a little bit more. I think you've made some really good points. No, I do. I really do. But I think everybody has made some good points, and so we do have fiduciary responsibility to the school district. And we have a responsibility to our students. So, and I agree with Trustee Manassi, this is a tough time to bring this forward. I can see the pros and the cons of each. I think that one of the things that would have been helpful for me is to have a ceiling. You know, the school district will not pay more than X amount, instead of having this potential percentage raise every year, I believe you said.
Well, yeah, to be clear, and
it's on the CPI, I understand.
It's based on CPI, so it can only go up the
Up to
rate of
4%.
Well, yes, it can't exceed 4%. Can only go up. So if inflation goes up 2%, the city cannot raise it 4%. If inflation goes up 8%, the city can only raise it 4%. And with regard to your earlier comment, this is why it's so challenging. It's not a city Benicia thing. It's state law through Proposition 218. We cannot exempt the school district. We cannot give the school district a discount. We can't give seniors a discount. It's based solely on proximity to park and basically the building in which you occupy and what you're zoned. And so this is the provisions and limitations that the city is bound to by the state of California.
So I look at some of the properties and some of the parks. I live by a park that is right on the water, and it's Bordoni Park. And the weeds are like, they're taller than I am. And that's always a concern because there are kids, you know. I understand the need for beautification of our city. I do. I understand that the 17,000 will impact us. I did not know about the garbage agreement. Right. Oh, in 2017, yeah. So I think Trustee Hirsch has made some really, really good points. This is awfully hard, Mario. I mean,
No, understood, and you know, and I sympathize. I was in fact, your seat, President Grubbs, 20 some odd years ago. So I fully appreciate kind of the burden of balancing the fiduciary duty of the district as well as kind of the greater good within the community. Again, what I would just note is that there are, again, a variety of relationships and partnerships with which the city and the school district have. And it's in our mutual interest to make sure that each other is successful. And we talked about a few earlier today. And so I think that's important to note.
Are you saying, I know there shouldn't be retaliation kind of stuff, but are you saying if this doesn't pass, that if you might pull some of these other agreements? And that worries me.
No, that's
also.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that through the course of history, we have a lot of you know, relationships, and there have been times when In fact, I was on the school board, and the city of Benicia took care of the high school and took care of Robert Simple School. We recently took care of the state capitol, aiding the state of California out. So my point is that in our history, right, we've had these relationships, whereas public agencies, whether it's the school district or the city or the state, where we support one another. But again, as a grander scale, and what I shared earlier, we're going to go into a period of time as an entire community. It's not just going to affect the city of Benicia. It's going to affect our nonprofits. It can affect our sports groups on how do we make sure that we protect the quality of life. And so sometimes the best way to do that is if everybody pulls together and supports something, you can get a greater good, right? Your $17,000 investment could have a return of investment of nearly $1.4 million to the city of Benicia to support our park system, for which user groups and students rely. And Bordoni public access area would be included in the district, which it is not now, right?
You know how the park behind the fire department that's on Military?
City Park?
Yes, City Park. So I know in some years past, there was a group of families that got together and came and they did maintenance on the wood and all of that. Can something like that be worked out among people that live near those parks? Like we can get a community of people that can come in with their mower or their weeder or their edger or something to help alleviate the cost that the city would end up having to cover. Is that even have you guys thought of that? Or is that-
It's happening now. We partner with both the Benicia Community Foundation as well as Benicians Adopting Benicians, where folks will either have specified designated days for cleanups. We also have folks during the week that will essentially shadow a parks worker. But I think there's an important understanding. I think you all in the service of the public understand this. When we have volunteers add value. It's very difficult for them to substitute the work that we have from our professional staff, right? It would be akin to someone saying, well, we don't need teachers, we can have volunteers come in and do that. Volunteers are great. They're going to support the teachers. We're going to have added value. But to rely upon the volunteer spirit to do basic services doesn't work. And so, yes, we're going to have to rely upon our community even more in the coming years to continue that added value. But for the core service, you're going to need professionals to be able to go in and do that work. And so with regard to Playground of Dreams, that's a hallmark in Benicia. To replace that park with like equipment that meets code, California code, over $1 million.
I so wish this was 5 years from now, because I think we'd have a better idea of where we're at, where you guys are at, where with Valero leaving, I think we would have a better idea. This timing really is not a good time. It's just not a good time to do something like this.
So, do we want to have a vote? I think that, is there any more discussion? Do we want to vote?
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenging question. I mean,
Yes, isn't it?
you know, Amy brought up a really good point. Like, yeah, I mean, I think it would be great for the taxpayers to make this decision and not put so much.
On the school district?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, not putting all the votes, 17,000, or no, was it 17,000 votes on our decision tonight? I mean, that's, I mean, that's going to skew one way or the other.
It is.
Ask the question if you have any other questions for staff, because Trustee Manassi brought up the issue of federal funding, and I just want to say that the federal government barely funds us in special education, right? And so, I just wanted to point that out. is not much, right? But do you have any other questions for us as a staff before you make a vote?
I just want to, can I just clarify that for
Please.
myself? So if I understand from last week, Trudy, it was like 1.2 or 3 million that we could get from the federal government, and that goes to special ed?
Some of the federal money goes to special ed. We do have Title I money, which supports currently 3 teachers that provide intervention. Our allocation this year came in about 50% of last year's, so we've already lost Title I funding. Title II supports a portion of staff development. And Title III, we were awarded it last year, which is for our English learners. But then when the year ended, we didn't actually get funded for it. Preliminarily, we are supposed to get it this year. We'll see. That was roughly 20,000. And then we do receive IDEA funding, which is much closer to the million, depending upon how the funding model at the SELPA, the Special Education and Local Plan area, which is all the districts in Solano, excluding Vallejo, depends on how that funding model allocates it. So currently, we get roughly $1 million as long as the federal government continues to fund it at that same level.
And as the climate is right now, things are being said that we might not get money from the federal government about the education stuff being stopped or lessened. So that concerns me too, because we don't know what's going to happen.
What's been your experience in past with the trash, which we all sort of like learned tonight? We're like, whoa, that's significant. What's been your experience in the past in terms of how other school districts handle that?
So every city is different.
Yeah.
It hasn't been my experience that the city offsets trash. CC asked me if I was aware of it. I wasn't. It's coded as sewer and trash in our system, so I did not realize there was a long-standing agreement where we didn't actually get the bills passed along to us, honestly.
You know, I have limited experience in that area. I do know that at times as a district, we went out to bid for our own services. And, but in my past district, the city provided that service. And so it behooved us to work with the city to do that and not an outside agency. And so they had made that switch, but obviously they go through a bidding process. I will also say that the cost of crossing guards that we currently pay in this district compared to the number of crossing guards we have is a very low price.
And the reason I brought that up is not to suggest the city would take away the services if we didn't vote. Not at all. The reason I brought that up is because the city has very, very limited funding.
Yeah.
And is in dire financial straits. So I think that if that doesn't improve, it's you know, they're gonna have to do what we would do, which is look at all of the line items that we pay for and say, do we still need to pay for this? So I think however this goes, we need to just keep that in mind. That's a reality.
I agree. I agree. I was not trying to imply that either, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And like Mario was saying, it hasn't been taken care of for all these years because they haven't done it. And it hadn't been budgeted properly or something with the financial way that the city is. I don't know if I can trust that it's going to continue to go into that fund. I know it's a special thing, but I have reservations.
I guess my perspective to that is that they have to, and things will get done. I don't think we're going to see things for a while. I think that there's so much work that needs to be done underground, essentially. Go ahead. Yeah. But
If I may, so related to any revenue derived from a parks, landscape, and lighting district, for which we've had one for 36 years, and we've collected approximately $422,000 annually. Every single year, the city council has to receive a report on where those dollars go, and it has to go currently in 5 existing parks for which that district supports. Should this pass, 2 things to note: it doesn't go into effect until August of 2026. And it's renewed annually by the city council, and you receive a report on where all of those dollars go, and it can only go into the park system. So the money generated, the nearly $1.4 million, and it would be a total of 1.8, because we're already going to receive the 400,000 we get now, so another additional 1.4, so a total of $1.8 million from the Parks Landscape and Lighting District has to go to the parks system. It legally, through Proposition 218, cannot be spent on city manager, can't be spent on a fire engine, can't be spent on a police officer, can only be spent on our parks.
But it was spent on something else than in years past.
No, it hasn't.
But you're saying that you didn't keep up with the maintenance of the park.
Exactly,
gonna
because in
cost.
1989, we generated $422,000 to support 5 parks for which that district was designed to. At that point, we had 17 parks workers. Today, in 2025, we have $422,000 to support those 5 parks, and we have less than 10 parks workers. Because in 36 years, nobody came to this podium or other podiums to fix it. So if the goal is to get something changed, you have to do something different.
Are there any other questions or any more discussion? So, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we vote yes on the Prop 218 lighting assessment.
I'll second. I know,
Who was that? Who seconded?
Cece.
I did,
Sorry, I was in-
I know.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One aye?
Sorry?
Did you say aye?
I think
2 ayes?
2 and 2. So now it's not approved. It just, we don't vote at all.
It fails.
It fails.
That's right.
So we don't vote yes, we don't vote no. It just sits. Which was going to be my second motion.
Well, but it's a tie, so.
So there's no action.
That is correct.
You know, I just want, I did change, listening to everyone, and just, you know, I've raised my kids here, and I utilize the parks. And there's that fiduciary responsibility. So for me, it's really a hesitant yes. You know, kind of a reluctant yes. Okay, I just wanted to explain my thinking.
It's a hard decision.
It's a very hard decision.
And thank you for this discussion, everybody.
Yeah, it was a good discussion.
Yeah. This is not an easy decision. I agonized over it.
We have to, there's,
to do it.
yeah. Okay, moving on.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mario.
So we are at 13B, ratification and approval of the memorandum of understanding with Dominican University. Dr. Jennings.
Good evening, President Grubbs, Board Trustees, Superintendent Calabrese, and the Benicia community. We are requesting approval of this memorandum of understanding with Dominican University to allow placement of teacher interns in Benicia Unified who are completing their preliminary credential program through Dominican's teacher credentialing program. So that's what we are requesting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding with Dominican University.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed. Thank you.
And we come to the end of our meeting. It is 7:50. Thank you, everybody. Our next regular board meeting is Thursday, October 16th. Thank you.